they have an interpretation of events that does not fit with what I think happened. But calling somebody a liar is that's not normally the kind of language I use. But I think that the comments that are being made are dissembling, obfuscating, and often insulting. So I mean, I don't disagree with those who don't care for what's going on at the press conferences.
All right, those are really fighting words, ladies and gentlemen, from Jake Tapper of CNN, describing what Jay Carney is trying to pass off as the truth. He would not call him a liar, but if you translate that, you might want to say it means he's lying. Joining us now to talk about Benghazi, Ukraine, the press conference today with the president and Angela Merkel, I should say, the Chancellor of Germany, is our friend General Paul E. Vallely. Hello, General.
Hello, Steve.
How are you?
Good morning.
Good to talk to you. All right, let's start with Benghazi. My oh my! Since the last, actually, if we had talked on Monday, today's Friday, we still would have. I could have said to you, "Wow, has the landscape ever changed?"
Well, that's true, and it has. And of course, I helped put together the Citizens Commission on Benghazi with Accuracy and Media, along with another number of other retired generals and retired CIA. So, and a couple of weeks ago, maybe we even did it on your program when I really recommended that the Select Committee be approved by Boehner, and Trey Gowdy actually be the chairman of it. And lo and behold, here's what hits the news this morning.
Absolutely. Why do you think Boehner has now acquiesced to this?
We have put so much pressure on him, working with Frank Wolf, the congressman from Virginia, in demanding that this be done, or Boehner stepped down, because they weren't getting the Select Committee the subpoenas that they need to get the likes of Hillary Clinton in, General Dempsey, Leon Panetta, General Petraeus in front, and to really get into depth of the lies and deceptions that were told by the American people, or to the American people, by the White House. We knew it always tracked back to the White House, Steve, and by goodness it has.
Yeah, and of course the Rhodes email, which has precipitated all of this, is what you're referring to. Now, I just had Fred Fleitz on and Seton Motley on the panel, and Fred is of the opinion, and I asked this question because I fear it, and I'm not a lawyer, but I was afraid that some of these people might say in front of a select committee of Congress, I executive privilege or a national security interest. I can't answer that. Let's go behind closed doors. Or there's, and this was brought up by Fred, there's a Justice Department investigation, so I can't comment while there's an ongoing investigation. Do you believe that this panel will run into that kind of stonewalling?
Well, executive privilege should not work because none of them are in office in the administration at this time. So I'm not. That will not work, in my opinion. They'll certainly safeguard Hillary Clinton as much as they can, but if they lie, it's a felony offense, and they could go to jail or should go to jail. And even on the Newsmax interview that I did yesterday, these are grounds for impeachment. When a chief executive, when our commander-in-chief absolutely deceives the American public the way he has and his people have, then he should step down immediately, as well as those people involved that are still in office.
All right, let's shift the conversation to what took place today in Ukraine. You had the pro-Russian rebels shooting down 2 Ukrainian helicopters. We also had reports, and not only reports, I heard the CBS reporter who said she and her crew were detained, blindfolded, and asked questions, very frightening questions, such as, how many children do you have, who's in your family, where do you live in the United States, that kind of thing. And then they beat one up and then let everybody go. It's getting worse and worse, not better and better.
Well, we could see the escalation over there. Putin is going to do what he wants to do, and they're very, very brutal once they go on an offensive operation, just like they did with the Chechens. And so it's going to get worse, Steve, and unless Ukraine is supported somehow, they will fall to Russia, and it goes beyond Crimea now. And so Putin has his horns out. He is ready to, I think, take over the Ukraine. I thought that was his goal right from the beginning. Crimea was just a way to get there.
Now, there was also an offensive of sorts launched through on the ground in the east by Ukrainian forces, which was limited in scope. I mean, are they any? I know they're no match for the Russian military, but with the people or troops or masked men that the Russians have on the ground inside, are they any match for them?
Yes, they are. They're trained. They're certainly not up to the standards of the Russian forces, especially the Spetsnaz, their special operations forces. So, but they are trained to a degree, and they're fighters. The Ukrainians have always been known to be fighters, as when they were back part of the whole Soviet Federation. So there's going to be more bloodshed. I'm not sure that America or the NATO nations can do anything about it. I'm assured that the sanctions won't work. Putin will work himself around any of those, and for the most part, a lot of the European countries don't want those sanctions because it affects their economy.
Right, and that's what Putin has indicated, or there have been indications today that if he goes down, economically speaking, he's going to take as much of the rest of the world down and other economies down with his economy. And the president, at the press conference today with Merkel at the White House, pointed out how much the Russian stock market has gone down and how much business or money has come out of the Russian economy. But he also threatened more sanctions. And as we discussed in the panel before, he once again, General, went out of his way. And I just find this. I don't know if I should laugh. I mean, why does he keep? Why is he so concerned with trying to do this with a smile? I don't get it.
Well, because I think number one, as Ralph Peters said on Fox News, Colonel Ralph Peters, I think Obama's a coward. I think he's weak. I think he's an empty suit. He's certainly not a world-class power leader like Putin is. And when you deal with the Putins of the world, you've got to be a world-class fighter. And we don't have anybody, We have Senator Kerry over there trying to negotiate everything, and he's weak as well. So we basically have a third-class team up against a first-class Putin-led type of organization. It's no match. And not many even in the European countries are any match for Putin. So it's going to get worse.
Before we let you go, you brought up John Kerry, who's been subpoenaed to testify before the one of the committees in the House before the Select Committee ever gets underway. And there have been calls, of course, for his resignation. Most notably, you had Senator Cruz go to the floor of the Senate right after it was revealed that Kerry made the remarks that Israel would evolve or dissolve into a apartheid state. Our friend Caroline Glick was on this show and said what he's doing is saying that inherently Jews are evil, because if you're saying that they won't be able to help themselves and they would become an apartheid state, then you're saying inherently Jews are evil, and that's what's going to happen. But he's not going anywhere. He's not going to resign, but he really crossed the line.
Oh, he really did, and it just shows his misunderstanding and the lack of depth in that area. I just got back from Cairo last week with a delegation, and even the Egyptian leadership over there who are working on south of Israel in the Sinai there, trying to protect the agreement and to prevent Al Qaeda from ramping up as they are doing in Libya. So the Egyptians are just absolutely befuddled of why our leadership is so inept and so weak. And that's the way we're perceived over there. So the enemies of the United States will get their way.
It is scary. It is frightening. General, it's people like you that keeps him sanity. And in the case of Benghazi and the Select Committee, the pressure that you did put on with your groups, and I think it certainly has paid off, and we'll see where it leads us. Thank you, General. Say hello to your lovely wife.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you. General Paul E. Vallely, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Steve Malzberg Show, and he's just great. He just is great. All right, we're almost to the top of hour number 1 of the Friday edition of the Steve Malzberg Show, but you know what that means? Before we get to the very top of any hour, we give you 5, or you give me 5, or something with 5 is involved in all this thing. So we're going to have the first Give Me 5 of the show coming up next, right here on Newsmax Television.